Ciara Lee was a 24-year-old mother of one. She was a Florida Department of Corrections officer. She had a 2-year-old son, Devin Franklin. They both were fatally shot when multiple gunmen stormed into her home in the Model City neighborhood. Lee's uncle, Tommy Lee, was also injured in the attack. Investigators recovered over 70 shell casings from the scene, indicating the use of high-powered rifles. Authorities believe that the family was not the intended target, suggesting that the shooting might have been related to drug activity. Let's run this clip.
They hate you. You're gonna die. I don't want to do this.
All murders are bad, but this is a real bad murder.
These Miami detectives are investigating the most horrifying crime scene of their careers, where a young woman and her 2-year-old son were slaughtered in their own home.
The whole side of his face gone from an AK-47 round. No matter how many dead bodies you've seen, you see a 2-year-old, it kind of like throw you off.
It's tragic when it's a child, especially a child who's in bed in his home where he's supposed to be safe.
Over 70 bullets were fired at a single house, but the detectives soon realized this was not the killer's first gruesome act.
He comes up, shooting and shooting and shooting.
He shot 30 rounds in 7 seconds.
As investigators followed the trail of suspects, they uncovered something far more disturbing than they had imagined.
This guy's a character. He wants to save his own skin. That's all he's doing.
December 14th, 2010. It was a quiet night, just past 1 a.m., when the silence on Northwest 73rd Street in the Model City neighborhood of Miami was abruptly broken by the sound of gunfire. A 911 call was placed shortly after.
Oh God, please! Somebody shot? Somebody shot my foot, my baby. Is he the person who did the shooting, sir? I don't know. I was not being free. See how the police on the way.
We're trying to get a clear picture, get an indication of what actually happened.
Police arrived knowing it was a crime scene, but the extent of what they uncovered there would haunt them forever. Amid the scattered toys and storybooks, more than 70 rounds were fired, targeting 24-year-old Ciara Lee and her 2-year-old son Devin.
It basically circles the entire house.
The back room were there.
Someone had gone to lengths to wipe out the entire family.
The whole side of his face gone from an AK-47 round. The baby's what gets me.
The investigators recovered bullets from multiple firearms, confirming that more than one shooter was involved.
A lot of rounds were fired from this side.
We're like past 60 now.
Right now, we really don't have a motive for this at all. We're hoping either the individuals that were in the house, somebody will give us an indication as to why this happened.
Apart from Ciara and Devin, there were 2 more people in the house at the time of the attack: Ciara's cousin, Tony Lee, and Devin's father, Andrew Franklin. Tony was shot in the leg but survived. The father was unharmed, but Ciara and Devin weren't nearly as lucky. Little Devin's body bore multiple shots. He died right there in his mother's arms, who was probably dead before him.
May rest in peace. No matter how many dead bodies you've seen, you see a 2-year-old, it kind of like throw you off. And I think we're all thrown off to a certain extent. We get in our thoughts, we're going to do what we need to do.
All right, everyone's cleared from the scene. Baby's mother was state correction officer. So all gloves come off for this. She's on our team. You want to go?
Danny, I'll do this.
Call you soon after you want first.
Ciara was a corrections officer. She was taken down by the same violence she worked against. The brutality of the attack suggested a personal vendetta against law enforcement, or was it something else entirely?
shoot your women and your children? Let's go!
A case like this, there's a big coming together of everyone. It's tragic when it's a child, especially a child who's in bed in his home where he's supposed to be safe.
Detectives began the investigation with the surviving victims of the night, sensing they might know who would want their family dead at any cost.
This is Devin's father and Ciara Lee's boyfriend. So, if he was the intended target, hopefully he'll tell us something. We just gotta see what happens.
First on the list was Andrew Franklin, Devin's father. He was in the house at the time of the shooting, and he witnessed his wife and child die in front of his eyes.
Sorry about your long time. Jim was asleep, man.
Let's start from the beginning, man. What happened?
I heard like 5 shots. They were shooting at the window.
Andrew reported that he'd been sleeping in the very room where the nightmare unfolded, the same room where Ciara and little Devin were brutally gunned down. Detectives believed he would be the key to unlocking the truth, the one person who could reveal what really happened that night. But little did they know, someone else would help them uncover the truth.
I kind of pushed her over, grabbed my son and kind of fell off the bed. And then I just heard pow, 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 shooting the whole apartment up. I had my son. My son got shot. I checked on Ciara. She was like trying to gasp for air.
I'm a father. I couldn't even imagine myself sitting where you're sitting right now. We have the job to find out who did this. But we need help. Did you have a problem today when you went out?
Not at all. Bro, I have no problem. Nobody.
How about your girl?
Not at all.
Nobody threatening her?
Nobody never threatened her. She never even had a fight before in her life.
Andrew informed detectives that they led a peaceful life, stayed to themselves, and held no current beef toward anyone. What was strange was that over 70 shots were fired on the family that didn't even have any explicit animosity.
So why you think that house would have got hit the way it got hit?
I have no idea. That was too crazy. And for me to lose my. This feel like a dream. My little boy was so smart. What city he from, what state, knew his birthday. So smart for 2. No, he's only 2. It's gonna be hard, boy.
From Andrew's interview, the police got the impression that he was unlikely to be involved. His calm demeanor, consistent statements, and lack of any clear motive made him seem less suspicious in their eyes.
I don't think he knows who the shooter was, and I don't think he was the intended target.
Andrew gave detectives no solid lead to move forward. So next, they brought in Ciara's cousin, Tony, the other survivor in the house, hoping he would unravel the truth.
Who do you think the intended target in that house was?
Remember, my brother, he dealing drugs, so it got to be Chuck.
In the next moment, another name was revealed, one that would completely change the course of the case.
Chuck got beat with somebody about drugs or money or whatnot, and they came and shot our house up because of what he doing.
How deep is Chuck in the game? Would you say he's a big timer?
Yeah.
Alright, give me a minute, okay?
Chuck had been living with Ciara's family at the time, and the cousin's revelation turned the whole case. What if Ciara and Devin weren't the intended targets? What if the real target was Chuck, the only one who was not at home at the time of the attack? The chilling realization twisted everything. Ciara and little Devin could have been nothing more than innocent bystanders caught in a deadly game meant for someone else. After the cousin dropped Chuck's name, the detectives immediately shifted their focus to him. If he actually was the real target, Chuck's involvement might be the missing link to this horrifying chain of events.
He's got a couple convictions here for sale of narcotics. It's all related. Hello? What are they saying? We're doing the interviews with Silva, and this may be tied in. You remember his case when he was trying to attack the cabin? It turns out the brother of all the people that lived there, his name is Chuck Boyd. Chuck might be our intended target.
All right, thanks. Thank you.
It really started to look like they came for Chuck. They didn't get him, and they just decided to shoot into the house because his relatives live here.
According to a neighbor, Ciara had only just moved into the house, still in the process of settling in when tragedy struck. Her sudden death became even more heartbreaking in light of this. As detectives combed through the house, they uncovered evidence that intensified their suspicions about Chuck, pulling him deeper into the case.
This was in the home where the victim was killed, but it was in the room of Chuck Boyd, 50s. During the search of the home and in his room, we find all this money, plus a large amount of narcotics, cocaine, crack, and
Just as detectives were piecing things together, they received a call that Chuck had been found. The man who might hold the answers they desperately needed was finally within reach.
Investigators from Miami-Dade has located Chuck for us. He should know who's trying to kill him. We'll find out real soon because he's on his way in.
Chuck was finally brought in for questioning. Detectives knew this was their chance. The man who could either reveal the truth or bury it even deeper was now in front of them.
How you doing, sir?
Obviously, you know what we want to talk about, right?
Yeah. I don't really have nothing to talk about really on this situation because I don't know what's going on.
That's your family there, right?
Man, I promise you, man, I would never ever bring no trailer to my house. Ever.
But it's there.
Which I have no understanding of what's going on.
So let me tell you how they shot the house at me.
I want to know.
They went from the first window where the kitchen at, lit that up about 15 times. Then they slid down to the next window, another 15 times. Next window, went around the back, next window. You feel me?
I'm staying there.
When was the last time you was at the house?
I don't stay there.
Nothing in there belongs to you?
That's where I put my clothes at.
why did all this heat come to your house?
Despite the growing pile of evidence, Chuck flat out denied ever living at the house. His cold insistence only fueled the detective's suspicions, and his demeanor raised more red flags than answers. And just as the case seemed to stall, one detective remembered a crucial detail, something that could tighten the noose around Chuck even more.
I just remember something. Chuck has been shot at 3 or 4 times already. They call him Bumblebee.
This wasn't the first time Chuck had been the target of a shooting. The previous shooting had claimed the life of 45-year-old Kenneth Bettel, and now detectives were starting to see a connection, one that could tie his violent past directly to Ciara's murder.
He comes up, starts shooting, then he moves, shooting and shooting and shooting. He shot 30 rounds in 7 seconds.
As the investigation unfolded, detectives discovered that Kenneth had once worked for Chuck Boyd. According to an informant, the hit was actually meant for Chuck, but the case was never solved.
It looks like we got a gun inside the car. Looks like some had a guy that came in here and provided me information. And Chuck is supposedly running drugs where the murder occurred, where the baby was killed. This is ongoing, the same players, and all we need to do is connect the dots and it's called cord.
With this new information in hand, the police returned to the interrogation room. When questioned about the previous shooting, Chuck claimed he had no idea why the house was attacked, but investigators weren't convinced. His evasive answers only made them more suspicious.
We don't care about dope. We don't care about money. All I want is for you to be straight up on a murder on one of your friends.
Kenny Bethel.
Kenny Bethel. You know what Bethel does?
I know what Bethel would do.
You're in business together, right?
Never that.
This is all related, brother. This is all related. I'm trying to, I'm trying to lead you a path to open your eyes, and you're playing games with me. That's the bottom line.
You scared of them?
What?
Can you show your face anywhere in Miami right now?
Who's looking for me?
That's what we're trying to find out.
And I'm trying to find out too.
So let's take a guess. Who do we think? What's the word in the street right now?
Man, I got as fight as I do, man.
Chuck offered detectives no help in solving the case. His cold indifference was unsettling. He didn't even seem to care about his 2-year-old nephew who had lost his life that night.
This guy's a character. He wants to save his own skin. That's all he's doing.
I mean, one way or another, with or without his help, we're going to solve this case.
As the investigation dragged on with no arrests, the police held a press conference with Ciara's family to apply public pressure and encourage anyone with information to come forward.
I can remember when she was a suckling child, we took pictures together with her, and we just watched her grow up. She was a beautiful child. She loved to play. She was very playful. She was just humble as a lamb. She had a nice, good, tender heart. She was gentle. She would not harm no one. And I just don't understand how could something like this happen to her.
And I had a happy family. I had a beautiful daughter, a beautiful grandson. It just don't make sense.
It's devastating, I tell you. It's devastating.
The detective stepped forward. Ciara wasn't just a victim. She was one of their own. This was personal. He pleaded for anyone with information to come forward.
What can I say that hasn't been said? Personally, I've been in homicide almost 16 years. However, I could not prepare myself for what I saw. That 2-year-old was laying in the last bedroom of the house, shot with an assault rifle. There's a lot of people in our community that know who these people are. Turn these guys in, please.
Ciara Lee wasn't just a corrections officer. She was a protector, a young mother trying to build a peaceful life for her son, ready for a fresh start. But before she could settle in, her world and her life was stolen in a storm of bullets.
We haven't gotten any calls, and it's been showing on the news, all the major stations. Cases like this, people are terrified.
Obviously, we can't wait around anymore. We need to start reaching out to people that we know have information about what's going on in the streets.
Just when it seemed the case was going cold, police picked up a man from the street who might know something.
Right now, what we did was we called in a guy that I arrested from the area where our murder happened. I'm hoping that I can convince him basically to make some phone calls, some of the guys out there in the streets, and identify who was out there that night. Maybe they'll be able to tell us who the shooters were. See that, man?
Damn.
It's 2 years old, man. And laying in bed, sleep. Christmas is in 10 days, man. Imagine that.
And it worked. The man agreed to make a few phone calls, giving detectives a chance to eavesdrop, hoping to catch something that could finally crack the case wide open.
It would be the one break we need, desperately need.
Hey, what's been going on over there, man? Who was out working? The whole night crew was out there? And what's the verdict on the other end?
According to a source, word on the street was that a local gang was involved in the shooting. And based on the detectives' previous encounters with this gang, it seemed entirely possible. The pieces were slowly starting to fall into place.
This group has the history of going up to all the drug holes and taxing them. They're ripping up the holes. Possibly they're trying to collect taxes from Chuck, and Chuck ain't gonna do it. It's getting really nasty.
Right now, through the inmate, been able to identify some witnesses that were actually out there when this took place.
With this new lead, the team hit the streets, determined to track down the men the victim had identified. One by one, they brought them in, hoping to finally get the answers they needed. By the end of the sweep, 4 men were brought in for questioning. Each one is a potential key to unlocking the truth behind the brutal shooting. The detectives began interrogating known gang members.
You know why we're here? Did you see anything? Anybody drive up?
I didn't see nothing.
We got word that you was out there the night that it happened, man.
I wasn't out there, that's what I'm saying. Anybody could tell you I was out there because they know I'd be out there, but I wasn't out there.
You understand that 2-year-old boy got killed, right?
This is not a regular murder. There was a mother and a baby that was shot and killed at at that house. I know you were there. Tell me what you saw. Okay? Okay.
The black Magnum with guards in the window. Well, dude jumped out.
During questioning, one of the gang members revealed a chilling detail. On the night of the shooting, he saw 4 men step out of a black Magnum armed with AK-47s. But there was one problem.
They robbed the police and what up? So I go out of the way. And that's why I hear all types of shots.
Let's stop you, man. You saw the face?
No.
You didn't?
No.
We know what he's telling us is the truth because the information that he gave us is consistent with the evidence we have at the crime scene. So now we just need to figure out which one of these gangbangers is driving a black Magnum.
Even though he didn't see their faces, he spotted something that could crack the case: the black Magnum. That car was now the detective's best lead. New information emerged. A patrol officer contacted them with a fresh tip. A source from the streets had come forward with potentially game-changing intel.
Go ahead and give us the information you got.
He said he assumed that Marcus Alexander is a shooting at the correction officer's house.
A new name emerged: 20-year-old DeMarcus Alexander. Well known to the police, he was no stranger to criminal activity. According to a confidential informant, DeMarcus claimed that Chuck Boyd was the one behind the house shooting.
He said that Marcus Alexander's house got shot up prior to the shooting of the correction officer's house.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, bye.
When detectives searched DeMarcus Alexander in their database, they uncovered something: a big connection that could finally bring them closer to the truth. DeMarcus Alexander was linked to the infamous Black Magnum, the exact vehicle suspected to be involved in the house shooting.
Let's see where I go with this.
What you got? DeMarcus Alexander's mom has a black Magnum. Oh my God.
That's beautiful.
That's tight work.
Real tight work.
All right.
With this new lead, detectives set out to locate DeMarcus Alexander's Black Magnum, hoping it could be the missing piece that finally tied him to the crime.
It's down right now. You see the bullet holes right there?
Yeah, I see him, but they didn't shoot it up that good.
Bullets right there.
Though detectives couldn't locate the Black Magnum, they did find something significant. The markings confirmed that a shooting had taken place, further strengthening the link between DeMarcus and the crime. Just as the detectives were pursuing their new lead, another one unexpectedly surfaced, one that could potentially change everything.
I'm pretty confident that's going to be our weapons. This is huge.
The caller claimed he'd seen a gang stashing their weapons in an abandoned house in the pork and beans section of Miami. And there it was, a potential clue that could finally break the case.
We gotta keep looking, bro. We have to keep looking. See that bag up there? Store rounds. Oh yeah, baby. Those are all the 223 rounds, like the ones that are on the scene.
We're expecting also to see the high-powered rifles that were used in the murder, but they're not here.
Inside the abandoned house, detectives discovered 2 9mm handguns, the same caliber as some of the shell casings found at the crime scene.
I'm going to get those over to the lab as fast as possible. Hopefully we'll get it matched.
Despite their efforts, there was still no trace of the Black Magnum, the key vehicle that could potentially crack the case wide open.
We really need a witness to come forward and, place him on the scene. If we don't have that, then ultimately this guy's going to end up spending Christmas with his family.
Just as detectives were piecing together the evidence, they received a tip from a new witness. This person was ready to give them information.
This is it right here. This is going to break the case wide open.
We're so close.
You scared?
Please do the right thing for you.
Look at that baby. And mom.
Let it out.
Talking about the sugar.
Who was talking about that?
Marcus.
A witness described DeMarcus Alexander talking about the shooting.
Tell me what they were talking about.
Marcus.
Okay.
How they shooting?
And DeMarcus was shooting. What was he shooting?
I can't understand.
How you know? Who else was shooting? There was more.
The witness also described a second suspect, Varys Vare Williams, linking him to the shooting.
What was Vare shooting?
A handgun.
I'm glad you decided to do the right thing. Yeah, I'm trying to get a picture of this Vari guy.
24-year-old Varys Vare Williams wasn't new to the system. He had prior convictions for aggravated battery, carrying a firearm, and grand theft auto. With 2 suspects identified and strong leads in hand, detectives were one step away from closing in on their case. All they needed was a sworn statement from the witness. But just when they thought they had it all, everything fell apart.
We need to take a sworn statement from you so we know that everything you told us is the truth. You're shaking your head. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? No, you're not going to answer my questions that you already answered? Are you serious? You're not going to say nothing? Why are you crying? You got to talk to me. I got to know what's going on with you. What's your concern?
We talking. Open it about says fuck you.
Okay.
What's going on?
I understand how you feel, believe me, I do. But we seriously need your help because we're concerned about what can happen if we don't do something.
Do you think what they did was right?
So take a step and help us end it.
And that's all we want to do.
That's it.
You understand that?
So you would tell us the truth?
With the witness statement locked in, detectives had what they needed. Without wasting any time, they secured arrest warrants for DeMarcus Alexander and Varys Vare Williams. They arrested DeMarcus Alexander. They laid it all out. The connection to the car, the witness statement, the ski mask and shell casing. DeMarcus sat stone-faced. Calm. Too calm.
DeMarcus, where you staying right now?
Going to different houses.
Why are these so different houses?
Because somebody shot up our house.
Who shot your house?
I don't know.
Let me ask you, do you know Chucky?
Who?
Chuck Boy. Look, I'm going to show you a picture right quick.
You look rough.
When confronted, DeMarcus denied everything. He claimed he had nothing to do with the murders. He insisted he was home that night. But detectives weren't buying it. His alibi was flimsy, and the details didn't add up.
That's it today. That's it, he came around. Don't crazy?
I don't know, babe. I'm just getting mad. Trying to charge me with something I ain't do. How you gonna, how I supposed to take that?
I was expecting you to say, that's up. Be a man about it and say, you know what, got my mom out.
I ain't gonna say that. I ain't retaliate on that.
I ain't going to kill no baby or no lady.
Frustrated by his evasiveness, detectives pressed harder. They reminded him that his name was already linked to the crime scene. But DeMarcus remained cold and defiant.
I know your parents. I've been talking to you straight up, man to man. But you have to understand, I'm trying to help you.
All murders are bad. But this is a real bad murder. And people don't like kids being killed.
We have to be able to explain to them why they shouldn't seek the death penalty. Why they shouldn't try to kill you for this. What's up?
What's up, what?
That's it? That's all you have to say?
That's all.
With DeMarcus still stonewalling them, detectives secured a warrant and searched his home. They were looking for anything, clothing, firearms, or evidence linking him to the crime. What they found was far worse.
There's another one.
Holy crap. This is drum. 100 round for an AK-47. Ready to go.
Well, the car was a rolling arsenal. That's it for now.
Hidden in the back of a closet, they discovered a black hoodie and gloves, both with traces of gunshot residue. And then came the final blow. Tucked away in a shoebox beneath DeMarcus's bed, they found a handgun. Ballistics would later confirm it was the same weapon used to gun down Ciara and Devin.
Right this way, son. Hope you remember those names forever. Ciara Lee and Devin Franklin.
As detectives closed in on DeMarcus, another name kept surfacing. Tavares Williams, a known gang member with a violent past. Brought in for questioning, he was eerily calm and gave inconsistent answers about his whereabouts the night of the murders.
I ain't done nothing. I don't want to know. I don't know nothing. I ain't talking about nothing. I don't know nothing. I don't know nobody. That's that.
After weeks of relentless investigation, mounting evidence, and damning witness statements, detectives finally had enough to make their move. They issued the warrants and booked both DeMarcus and Tavares for the murders of both Devin Franklin and Ciara Lee. DeMarcus and Tavares' arrests brought a moment of relief. It felt like justice might finally be served. But once the trial began, things started to fall apart. The whole case had been built on tips, but when it was really needed, no one came forward. In the end, the case was dropped due to a lack of evidence, and justice was never served.
They hate you. You're gonna die. I don't want to do this.